Renegade Immortal Episode 123. It was not false that 100,000 demon soldiers could destroy an ascendant cultivator, but only if this ascendant cultivator wasn't Wang Lin. When a normal ascendant cultivator meets 100,000 demon soldiers, although they can use spells to kill them, the 100,000 demon soldiers can battle the ascendant cultivator by fusing their demonic spiritual energy into one and creating a formation. But at this moment, Wang Lin was so crazy that he wasn't even afraid of death, so how would he mind these demon soldiers? His celestial slaughter art required slaughter to create more slaughter energy. At this moment, Wang Lin's origin soul was being stimulated by the celestial ascension fruit, and he had a large amount of celestial spiritual energy in his body, so how could he be stopped by 100,000 demon soldier? If there were 5 times more demon soldiers, Wang Lin would definitely be defeated, but he would not lose when facing only 100,000 of them. Slaughter energy charged through the demon soldiers like crazy. As the tragic screams came from the demon soldiers, their demonic spiritual energy gathered to form the image of a scorpion. The scorpion was made of demonic spiritual energy and had a very large body. The scorpion's tail looked like it could shatter space itself when it attacked. The middle-aged man on the wall had a gloomy expression as he said, "Go and kill this person." The demon generals beside him all charged out toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin immediately noticed more than 10 strands of killing intent coming at him. He quickly moved and pointed his right pinky forward. Underworld finger. This underworld finger was used with ascendant level cultivation. One finger to summon the underworld. After his domain and origin soul fused, this finger represented the changes of life and death. The moment the finger appeared, countless flashes of lightning appeared across the sky and a large river suddenly appeared in the air. This river was cloudy with countless remnants and limbs flowing within it. There were also countless ghosts struggling within, and many different human faces could be seen within the water. As Wang Lin waved his pinky, large waves were created inside the river and descended from the sky. It came down like a flood and trapped all living things within it. As the water from the underworld fell from the sky became cloudy and the life and death domain was activated. This underworld river was something he comprehended in the 10 years it took for his origin soul and domain to fuse. This river did not belong to the heavens, it was formed by Wang Lin, and only he controlled it. He had comprehended the heavens' reincarnation cycle, and during those 10 years of enlightenment, he used the underworld finger to create this endless underworld river. The moment the demon generals charged out, they were washed away by the underworld river that descended from the sky and were trapped by it. Bursts of exclamations came from the demon generals. They just couldn't believe that the youth before them was this strong. One spell was able to trap most of the demon generals. Although they couldn't completely see through this spell, a few were able to see some clues. The middle-aged man on the wall's face changed like it never had before. He unconsciously took a few steps back and revealed a look of disbelief. This isn't possible. This person is only an ascendant cultivator, but he has such a terrifying Tao that he has already created his own underworld river. This kind of cultivation has already reached the second step of reaching the edge of the heavens Tao. Making his own reincarnation cycle with the underworld river formed by his own Tao was the biggest harvest he had in the last 10 years of defying the heavens. But this Tao was still only a vague concept in Wang Lin's mind. After all, 10 years of comprehension was still too little. However, he was currently being stimulated by the celestial ascension fruit, so his mind had reached a new peak. Adding on the surging celestial spiritual energy inside his body, the effects of both could be able to complete that vague concept in his mind and make it into reality. This was the most important step in his life as a cultivator so far. Once he takes this step, he will truly have his own Tao. From that moment on, he will no longer cultivate the heavens, the earth, the immortals, or the gods. He will become a Daoist. Someone who cultivates Tao. The underworld river swept across the group and carried more than 10 demon soldiers back with it. The demon generals trapped inside the underworld river struggled like crazy. Their combined struggle was very powerful and even caused the newly formed underworld river to loosen a bit. Wang Lin's eyes became red as he turned into shadow and entered the underworld river. Once he entered the underworld river, it became as stable as Mount Tai. Anyone who wishes to kill me will be trapped in my underworld river. This is my own reincarnation cycle that isn't controlled by the heavens. Wang Lin's voice spread out his Tao. It fused into the underworld river and turned into reincarnation power. The underworld river rolled back and disappeared from the world, and the more than 10 demon generals disappeared with it. The scorpion formed by the demon soldiers also collapsed. As the 30,000 strands of slaughter energy moved through, they carried back with them strands of grey gas. These strands all rushed toward Wang Lin, who was slowly walking toward the city. It looked like the grey gas was a giant cloak on Wang Lin's back. This cloak was so big that it covered the earth. The expression of the middle-aged man on the wall became pale and his throat felt dry. He kept backing up, as he felt like he had no power to resist the man before him. My cultivation level is the same as this person's. Both of us are at the early stage of ascendant. This person is seriously injured, so I was originally 100% confident in killing him, but now I'm not even 10% confident. This person already has his own Tao, and that underworld river is too terrifying. The demon emperor has harmed me by making me stay here. The middle-aged man clenched his teeth and began to retreat like crazy. He didn't hesitate at all as he took out a black, fist-sized beast bone and crushed it. The moment the beast bone shattered, a strand of black gas came out of it. The black gas quickly surrounded the middle-aged man and teleported him away. This black bone was a very precious item that could teleport someone directly back to the capital. Only the commander-in-chiefs and vice-commander-in-chiefs had them. Wang Lin's eyes were extremely red. He waved his hand and the 100,000 demon soldiers turned into 100,000 strands of slaughter energy. Adding on the 30,000 strands from before, 130,000 strands of slaughter energy charged out. At the moment the middle-aged man disappeared, the 130,000 strands of slaughter energy quickly caught up. There was a very luxurious transfer array in the capital of the Fire Demon country that only commander-in-chiefs and vice-commander-in-chiefs could use. The head steward of the Fire Demon country was silently cultivating next to the array. He suddenly opened his eyes and revealed a smile as the transfer array activated. He knew that a commander-in-chief or vice-commander-in-chief had returned. I wonder who returned. He stood up and turned around to look at the formation. However, his expression immediately changed. He stared at the formation and was completely dumbfounded. As the formation lit up, a withered mummy fell from the void. The mummy's eyes were still open and filled with reluctance. The death of a vice-commander-in-chief was a big deal for any of the countries in the demon spirit land. The angry roar of the Fire Demon country's demon emperor echoed throughout the entire capital. Cert. Find who that cultivator is and kill him. I don't care what his identity is, I want him dead. As Wang Lin left the city at the border between the Fire Demon country and the Sky Demon country, he took with him 100,000 strands of slaughter energy. The power of the celestial ascension fruit in his body was still going strong. Not only had the killing not lowered his battle intent, it caused it to increase even more. His killing intent also increased. He turned into a ferocious meteor as he charged toward the location where he sensed the source of the attack. In the past several days, that cold snort never appeared again. Wang Lin's body had already recovered thanks to all of the life force he had taken from the earth. In fact, his body was reaching its peak with the help of all the slaughter energy. In the Black Tower in the ancient battleground, there was a ghostly light flickering inside the armor that was missing a wrist guard, and there was an old man kneeling before the armor. This old man was wearing all black. He was the person that saved Hu Pao. I'll give you 3 pieces of the demonic armor. Stop him. He is not allowed to step foot onto this ancient battleground. As the divine sense message echoed in the tower, a wrist guard, chest piece, and shoulder guard flew off the armor. The moment the 3 pieces of armor flew out, they turned into black threads that drilled into the old man's clothes. The black threads moved through the old man's skin and quickly appeared all over his body. The threads constantly moved, and when they eventually stopped, a set of black armor appeared over the old man. This armor was simple, but there was a monstrous amount of devilish energy coming from it. An arm-sized illusion appeared from the devilish energy. This illusion was a shadow with a single horn, exactly the same as the creature Wang Lin destroyed. The moment it appeared, It entered the old man's forehead. The old man seemed to be enduring a great deal of pain. The veins all over his body swelled up and his cries of pain spread far into the distance. After a long time, the old man's body trembled. Then his eyes revealed a devilish light and he respectfully said, "This devil servant obeys. Go." The ghostly light from the armor was very dim. The divine sense message it gave out revealed that it was tired. The old man no longer spoke. He stood up and walked out of the tower. Then he looked into the distance and, after pondering a bit, he shouted, "Demon guardians, come out." After he said that, a huge gust of wind appeared over the entire ancient battleground. This wind was extremely cold and felt like it could freeze the ground it blew by. This demonic wind circled around the old man and turned into a woman wearing armor. There was a tattoo on her face that covered her whole body. However, due to her armor, parts of the tattoo were blocked. After she appeared, she knelt down on one knee and softly said, "Demon Guardian Windsong, present." If Wang Lin was here, he would notice that this woman was very similar to Demon General Xie Lian. Shortly after, the earth trembled and there was a series of explosions. The ground 100 feet before the old man suddenly exploded and a completely black arm reached out. A very lean old man climbed out from the ground. He was on all fours like some kind of wild beast. He turned his head to look at the old man and grinned. "Demon Guardian Earth Devil, present." At this moment, soul fragments filled the horizon and waves of ghostly wails could be heard. These soul fragments formed a giant, black cloud that covered the sky. There were no less than 100 million soul fragments within the black cloud. The black cloud formed a cone shape, and below it, a sullen-looking young man was slowly walking over. The roars of the large amount of soul fragments behind him echoed across the area. Demon Guardian Hu Pao, present. After passing through the 10,000 Demon Mountain, the location of the source of the cold snort became even more clear to Wang Lin. After several days, an endless wasteland appeared before him. There was countless debris covering the wasteland. The ground was covered in cracks and there was an unpleasant smell being carried by the wind. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot. The celestial ascension fruit had penetrated his entire mind after being under its effect for so many days. His awareness had increased several-fold and now he only needed a little stimulation to erupt. At this moment the only thought in Wang Lin's mind was kill. He moved like a bolt of lightning, charging directly at the wasteland. Just at this moment, a series of explosions came from the ground below Wang Lin. Following the sound, a spike made of yellow earth suddenly shot into the air toward him. At the moment this spike appeared, countless more appeared. They were like ferocious needles that whizzed through the air. In the blink of an eye, Wang Lin was surrounded by spikes. Wang Lin's divine sense was very sensitive. Instead of backing up, the celestial spiritual energy inside his body formed a vortex. Under the power of the vortex, all of the spikes shattered. A black figure suddenly jumped out from the ground and landed on one of the spikes. This person was skinny and his body was completely black. He was on all fours with his head tilted as he looked at Wang Lin and licked his lips. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot as he took a step forward and pressed down with his right thumb. The finger of death appeared and shot toward the skinny old man as a ray of black light. The old man let out a grin. This grin was very dark. Facing the finger of death, not only did he not dodge, he suddenly opened his big mouth. At this moment, an illusion suddenly appeared behind him. This illusion was about 100 feet tall, looked like a cocoon, and there were pustules on it. At the moment the skinny old man opened his mouth, a big mouth also appeared on the illusionary cocoon behind him. He sucked the black light of the finger of death into his mouth and then swallowed it. At the moment he swallowed it, the illusionary cocoon behind him also acted like it had swallowed the finger of death. Its belly was bulged and its entire body began to squirm. The pustules on the cocoon burst, releasing foul-smelling liquid. The old man's skinny hand reached out, causing the foul liquid to condense into a ball of pus in his hand. He stared darkly at Wang Lin and spoke for the first time. "Little kid, your spell was delicious. Let me gift you one too." With that, he threw the ball of pus in his hand toward the ground. This ball of pus was too fast and landed on the ground in the blink of an eye. When it exploded, It released the pus and fused with the ground. In an instant, the ground within 10,000 feet began to tremble. Shortly after, large amounts of pus came out from the ground and suddenly formed an encirclement. A thick layer of pus quickly rose up on the outer ring, creating a powerful wall. The old man licked his lips and in a flash he disappeared into the pus. Right after he disappeared, the wall of pus suddenly began to close in from all directions. The wall of pus covered the sky and the earth. As it closed it in, it formed a giant sphere. The old man appeared outside of the pus sphere. He stared at the sphere that was quickly contracting and said, with his hoarse voice, "Wind Song, there is no need for you to be here, so you can go back. A mere cultivator dares to do as he wishes here. He has no chance of surviving my heaven pus and earth saw." A gust of cold wind blew by and the woman with the tattoo on her face appeared 100 feet from the old man. She coldly looked at the pus sphere that had shrunken down to only 100 feet wide and coldly said, "If this person could be killed so easily, Master wouldn't have sent us out. Oh, then I want to see how this little cultivator can escape from my heaven pus and earth saw." The skinny old man smiled, but soon his smile froze. When the pus sphere shrunk down to only 30 feet wide, it stopped and no longer shrunk. A powerful battle and killing intent penetrated through the pus sphere. The killing intent that penetrated through caused the surrounding temperature to immediately drop and created gusts of cold wind. The battle intent that was mixed in with the killing intent caused the skinny old man's pupils to shrink. Just at this moment, muffled roars came from within the sphere of pus. Soon, a ray of sword energy split the sphere of pus and charged out. This sword energy was monstrous. When it appeared, it caused the sky to be filled with sword energy. There was another sword next to the celestial sword. It was a treasured sword, and the faint figure of a devil ram soul had appeared on the sword. There was also a half-moon blade next to the two swords. This blade let out a blade hymn and gave off a cold aura. Behind those three weapons was Wang Lin. He slowly walked step by step out of the sphere of pus that was cut in half. His eyes were bright red, and the killing and battle intent in his eyes had fused into a mysterious light. The skinny old man's heart trembled when he looked over. This person's gaze is somewhat terrifying. At the moment he stepped out, the three weapons before Wang Lin charged out. They turned into three rays of light and shot toward the old man and the woman. The woman's expression was gloomy as she took a step back and immediately disappeared. The black half-moon blade let out a sudden hymn as it also disappeared. A series of groans and sounds of metal colliding quickly echoed throughout the surrounding area. The old man's eyes became cold. He didn't even look at the three weapons before his hand formed a seal and he shouted, "Earth saw." The ground 10,000 feet around the old man began to shake. As the ground shook, rings of light appeared and quickly began to expand. They looked like the sores that grow on people's faces, but they were growing on the earth. The old man shouted, "Explode." At this moment, his energy surged and all of the sores growing out of the ground immediately exploded. Then Shu Ligua came out from the celestial sword and cursed at the skinny old man. "Blow yourself up." He controlled the celestial sword to attack the old man directly. The old man revealed an impatient expression and his hand reached out, trying to grab the celestial sword. In his eyes, it wasn't hard to grab the sword with just his body at his cultivation level. Shu Ligua laughed in his heart when he saw the old man trying to grab the sword. Not only did he not dodge, but he even slowed down, waiting for the old man. What kind of sword is this? The old man was shocked and quickly retreated. However, the celestial sword gave chase. The sword with the evil ram soul arched around and attacked the old man's back. After the sores on the earth exploded, a thick wall of pus 100 feet tall appeared and spread out in ripples. Wang Lin's body was filled with celestial spiritual energy as he floated in the air. He took a step toward the old man, who was entangled with the two swords. The old man let out an angry roar as he called out the illusionary cocoon again to use his spell. With one step, Wang Lin broke space and arrived above the old man. His blood-red eyes stared at the illusionary cocoon and his right hand reached out. Strands of slaughter energy charged out and drilled into the illusion. Then he closed his right hand and pulled back. There was a tearing sound as he tore the illusionary cocoon from behind the old man. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he threw the cocoon behind him. Then his right hand viciously reached out. The cocoon exploded as it flew through the air. Large amounts of pus sprayed out and there was a muffled groan from the void. Wind Song's body appeared where the cocoon exploded. Her face was pale, but her eyes were even more gloomy. The half-moon blade followed closely after her and stabbed toward her. Wind Song waved her hand. There was now a silver dagger in her hand. The sound of metal colliding was heard as the half-moon blade was pushed back, but Wind Song was also pushed back a few steps. She had just arrived here while fighting the half-moon blade and was forced to reveal herself because of the cocoon exploding. After the cocoon was crushed, the old man coughed out blood and revealed a look of disbelief. At this moment Wang Lin's thumb pressed down again and the finger of death appeared once more. This time the black light charged out like crazy. This black was too fast and was already very close to the old man. The moment it appeared before the old man. The old man panicked and opened his mouth to devour the black light. Although he devoured the black light, it didn't dissipate and instead penetrated through his mouth. Just at this moment, Wind Song threw the dagger in her hand. The dagger and the half-moon blade began to fight. She then turned into a cold breeze and charged toward Wang Lin, who had his back toward her. The wind was very fast. She closed in on Wang Lin in almost an instant. Wang Lin didn't turn his head but touched his bag of holding. The soul lasher appeared in his hand. The long whip was completely black and gave off an aura that could cause the soul to tremble. At the moment Wind Song closed in, the soul lasher suddenly moved. There was a loud bang followed by Wind Song's miserable groan. She was knocked out of the void and there was a red whip mark on her face. For the first time, her eyes revealed shock. Right now she didn't want to kill, she wanted to retreat as soon as possible. Wang Lin's mind had long lost his consciousness due to the stimulation of the celestial ascension fruit, so everything he did was by instinct. Wind Song quickly retreated. For her to be able to fight the half-moon blade, her speed was naturally very fast. She quickly retreated without even leaving a shadow. Without even thinking, Wang Lin's palm pressed down and a huge hand print suddenly appeared before him. The same nameless palm print that managed to even scare Mo Lahai appeared. Wang Lin's slaughter energy moved within the palm print. Creating a gust of wind in its path, the palm print moved at an unimaginable speed, chasing after Wind Song. The palm print passed through Wind Song while she retreated. The slaughter energy inside the palm entered her body, causing her to explode. A gentle wind blew by and caused Wang Lin's hair to flutter. He continued to march into the distance, and in front of him were the three weapons. On the ground there were a pile of flesh and a mummy giving off an endless amount of death aura. Inside the black tower, the ghostly light flickered like it never had before. There was even a hint of fear inside the ghostly light. This kind of thing almost never happened in these countless years. That palm print. It's him. Could this person have something to do with him? Could he also be here? There was a trace of panic in the divine sense. Normally, with his mental strength, this kind of panic would never appear. However, that person was simply too terrifying. So terrifying that even with his cultivation, his heart would tremble when thinking about that person. Although this person's palm print has a lot of differences, about 70% of it is the same as his spell. Is this a coincidence, or? Wang Lin. A loud shout came down like a thunderous roar from the sky. Although this shout came from a person, it also felt like it had come from 100 million souls. This sound arrived like a series of explosions. The sky changed color and it was as if the sound was the only thing that remained. Wang Lin's stimulated origin soul showed a sign of sobering up when he heard this voice. Although his eyes were still blood-red, at this moment, they revealed a rare glimmer of clarity. He turned around and saw dark clouds rushing over from the horizon. These black clouds were made of countless soul fragments. These soul fragments were full of energy and caused terrifying ripples as they charged over. A black-robed young man walked toward Wang Lin step by step under the black clouds. This person looked normal, but there was a deep sense of hatred in his eyes. He stared at Wang Lin and shouted, while clenching his teeth, "Wang Lin, do you recognize me?" Wang Lin's eyes revealed a sense of clarity. He looked at this person and said, in a low tone, Hu Pao. You still remember me? Wang Lin, I'll personally kill you today. Hu Pao laughed like crazy, causing the clouds of soul fragments above him to tremble. This created a huge pressure that enveloped the area. Wang Lin, you never would have imagined that I, Hu Pao, would be like this today. Back then you were so strong in my eyes that it was completely impossible to do anything against you. However, now you are only an ant in my eyes. Hu Pao stared at Wang Lin while venting all the resentment he had stored up in the past 10 years. He wasn't in a rush to attack, he wanted to vent. Wang Lin's voice was still calm. Indeed, I would never have imagined. Hu Pao madly shouted, when you abandoned me in 13, do you know how much we suffered? Especially me, who had all of my bones crushed and meridians shattered by that commander. I suffered torture and humiliation in the dark prison. Where were you then? When I called countless times for you to save me, where were you? In your eyes, 13 and I were only pawns. Unfortunately, 13 is still a fool and doesn't know your true face. The soul fragments above him seemed to feel this excitement and roared with him. Fortunately, the heavens have eyes and didn't let me just die. Instead, it gave me a new life and let me meet Master. I was able to complete my soul refining spell here, and I have refined over 100 million soul fragments. Today you will without a doubt die. However, I won't kill you so easily. I'll seal your soul inside your body and throw you into the most cruel dungeon in the 9-demon country where you will be humiliated but won't be able to die. Then I'll extract your soul and seal you in a soul flag where I can torment you every day. Hu Pao viciously stared at Wang Lin before revealing a hint of mockery and saying, have you ever thought that you would one day be killed by the spell you taught? Have you ever tasted the feeling of 100 million soul fragments invading your body? After I take your soul, I'll return to the soul refining tribe and take all of their souls too. Hu Pao's body was trembling. This trembling was caused by excitement, and he began to laugh like crazy. Wang Lin pondered for a long time and slowly said, so it turns out you hate me this much. Hate? Of course, I, Hu Pao, will not be ordinary in this life. With this soul refining spell and the 100 million soul fragments, I'll be at the top of the demon spirit land. You are not qualified to be my master, even if you were before. You must die. Arrogant laughter came from Hu Pao. At this moment, he really did have the qualifications to be arrogant. The power of 100 million soul fragments was indeed great, especially because these 100 million soul fragments all came from this ancient battleground. Before they died, none of their cultivations were weak. There were even some demon general level soul fragments, making it all the more terrifying. With this soul flag in my hand, who else can stop me besides the master who saved me? No one can stop me. 100 million soul fragments isn't my goal. My goal is 1 billion, 10 billion. I want a 10th demon country to appear in the demon spirit land. The first demon emperor will be me, Hu Pao. Wang Lin silently looked at Hu Pao and slowly said, so it seems you want to kill me, and hatred is only half the reason. The other half is to kill everyone else that knows the soul refining spell. This way there will be no one else who can use the same spell as you to compete with you for soul fragments, correct? Hu Pao stared at Wang Lin and let out a grim laugh. You are indeed worthy of being my previous master. That is correct, you treated me as a pawn, but you taught me the soul refining spell. Although I hated you before, it wasn't that much. However, inside the dark prison, I reached enlightenment. What right do you have to be my master? What right did others have to attack me because they don't like you? Because you are strong. Then if I become even more powerful, then what? That is why, at the moment I was rescued, I swore that I'd become strong. I'd overtake you and then kill you. Wang Lin slightly shook his head as he carefully looked at Hu Pao and said, to be able to cultivate to this step in only 10 years of time, I have to admit, not even the most blessed daughter of the heavens could compare to you on this. At first I was puzzled. Although your talent is good and even better than red butterflies at certain points, it is impossible to cultivate to this degree in only 10 years. It should also be impossible for you to contain and control so many soul fragments, but now I understand the reason. You must have cultivated a method that burns your potential and life. You will quickly reach your peak for a very short period of time. This peak will be very short, and I'm afraid it will last not even more than a day. Shut up. Hu Pao's expression was fierce as he pointed at the sky. A part of the black cloud suddenly split off, turning into millions of souls. Hu Pao pointed at Wang Lin and the soul fragments rushed toward him. Hu Pao madly laughed. I'll let you see what 1,000,000 soul fragments are like. You probably have never even seen 1,000,000 souls before. Shu Ligua clearly heard the talk between the two of them. He looked at Hu Pao and thought, this kid doesn't know how high the heavens is. Your grandpa Shu has tried to revolt many times, and each time I failed. If you can really succeed, I'll change my surname to Hu and be called Hu Ligua. Revolting is a very difficult thing, and it requires a lot of planning, especially when it is against this fiend. How can you think it will be this simple? Wang Lin raised his head and calmly looked at the sky. The 1,000,000 soul fragments rushed at him. This was something he hadn't seen in a long time. This black mass of soul fragments, all with ferocious expressions, wouldn't retreat until they had completely devoured him. Wang Lin let out a soft sigh as he raised his right hand and pressed it toward the sky, then a symbol appeared in his palm. The 1,000,000 soul fragments suddenly stopped and remained motionless after seeing the symbol. This scene was too strange and it even startled Hu Pao. The soul refining spell is not used like this. Wang Lin's voice was soft as he waved his right hand. Looks of respect appeared in the eyes of the 1,000,000 soul fragment. The soul fragments recognized Hu Pao as their master, but when they saw that symbol, they immediately understood that the person before them was the real master. This is impossible. Not possible. Hu Pao suddenly lost connection to those 1,000,000 souls in his mind. He was startled and revealed a ferocious expression as he shouted, 100,000,000 souls, devour. After he said that, the black clouds in the sky suddenly descended, creating crazy amounts of pressure, and the 100,000,000 souls rushed out. At this moment, it was as if the only thing that existed in this world right now were the soul fragment. Hu Pao revealed a ferocious expression. It was as if could see that Wang Lin was about to be devoured. As the 100,000,000 soul fragments rushed over, Wang Lin's origin soul left his body and swept the area. The weak point that Wang Lin left in the soul refining spell that he taught was used at this moment. Wang Lin had absolute control over all of the souls refined by people who learned the soul refining spell from him. The 100,000,000 soul fragments were startled, and they immediately showed respect in their eyes and circled Wang Lin. They formed back into the black cloud and stared back at Hu Pao. At this moment, Hu Pao was completely stunned. There was no longer a single soul fragment near him. This huge change, this strange scene caused Hu Pao's mind to blank out. Your soul refining spell was manipulated by someone to make it easier to control. However, how could the root of the soul refining spell be so easily changed without the true inheritance and tens of thousands of years of sacrifice? Wang Lin was the person who inherited the soul refining spell, and the soul refining spell was the heart of the soul refining sect. Although the soul refining spell wasn't an earth-shattering spell, it was something that was refined by countless generations of soul refining sect disciples. The members of the soul refining sect spent tens of thousands of years diligently studying how to refine the spell. How could anyone completely remake the spell in merely 10 years without even the true inheritance? Hu Pao's benefactor couldn't do this. Maybe the person inside the armor could, but he wouldn't waste his time on such a small matter. Impossible. How did this happen? Benefactor clearly told me that he had already fixed the weakness of this spell. Why? Hu Pao's dumbfounded expression suddenly turned to anger. He stared at the soul fragments around Wang Lin and shouted, "Soul fragments, quickly return." His voice was almost breaking, but the soul fragments around Wang Lin didn't even look at him. They all circled around Wang Lin with looks of respect on their faces. "Soul fragments, quickly return." Hu Pao roared like crazy, but the soul fragments still circled Wang Lin. Hu Pao's heart was filled with rage as his body trembled and he coughed out a large mouthful of blood. He spent countless days and nights during the last 10 years refining souls. His courage continued to expand until he had refined 100 million of them. At that moment, He believed that he had the power to pierce the heavens. He had become strong and could kill Wang Lin to take Wang Lin's place. However, at this moment, when he was facing Wang Lin, all of that disappeared. More than 10 years of hard work were handed over to Wang Lin just like that. The flame of rage burned brightly in his heart, brightly enough to almost make him collapse. Wang Lin, I will kill you. The veins on Hu Pao's face bulged out and he became crazy. The current him looked even crazier than Wang Lin when he was under the effect of the celestial ascension fruit. Because he had hopes, when his hopes were shattered, he became even more disappointed and crazy. Wang Lin revealed a complex expression. He waved his right hand and sighed. You rebelled because of me. Before you die, I'll let you see a true spell using the soul flag. The 1 billion soul flag flew out from Wang Lin's bag of holding. The surrounding 100 million soul fragments suddenly trembled before they rapidly fused into one soul. This soul was crystal clear as it threw a punch at Hu Pao. When the punch landed, Hu Pao's body trembled and was torn asunder along with his soul. Wang Lin let out a sigh as he waved the 1 billion soul flag, and the 100 million soul fragments flew into it. There was a hint of struggle in the clarity in his eyes. He looked into the distance and could see that there was a black tower far in the distance. There was an old man standing below the tower. He was wearing black armor and was also looking toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's gaze moved away from the old man and moved to the tower. He could feel powerful, devilish energy coming from the black tower. This was true devilish energy. There was a distinct difference between this and the devilish energy created from cultivators' cultivation. Now that Wang Lin had sobered up, his pupils shrank. This devilish energy was very powerful, extremely powerful. The person inside the tower had to be a peerless expert. Wang Lin took a deep breath. His origin soul and his body hadn't completely fused yet. It would still take half a month for his origin soul and body to become one, and only then would his cultivation of early-stage ascendant be stabilized. The celestial ascension fruit is simply too tyrannical. Although it allowed me to withstand his attacks, it also made me enter a state of craze that I have never entered before. Wang Lin took a deep breath and stared into the distance before him. The old man wearing black armor below the tower took a step. This step caused the earth to tremble, and the trembling spread to Wang Lin's feet. Late-stage ascendant. This person's cultivation. No, wait, this person's true cultivation level isn't this high, it is the armor on his body. The clarity in his eyes struggled once more. The effect of the celestial ascension fruit was attacking his mind like crazy, trying to return him to the madness once more. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he let out a cold snort to suppress the effect of the fruit. Then he raised his right hand to point at the sky. There was a loud rumble as a large river appeared in the sky. Shortly after, he pointed to the spot between his eyebrows with his left hand. A ray of golden light came out from his forehead and into his left hand. Ling Tianho's sword energy appeared. The old man in black armor's eyes lit up and he stopped. The black-armored old man frowned and his eyes lit up. First he looked at the river in the sky. After pausing for a moment, his gaze moved to the sword energy left by Sword Saint Ling Tianhu. His eyes were glowing brightly as he stared at that sword energy and sucked in a breath of cold air. There is something mysterious about this river formed by his Tao. However, it has just formed, so there isn't enough power behind it. But this sword energy is strong, very strong. The person who created this sword energy must be a peerless expert. I'm afraid that person's cultivation level has already entered Nirvana Shatterer. Wang Lin's two most powerful hands were brought out. His goal wasn't to fight but to shock the enemy. Wang Lin had already become sober, the madness from the fruit had been suppressed and he had regained his cunning. Right now this old man was not someone he could deal with, let alone the mysterious existence in the Black Tower. The black-armored old man's gaze withdrew from the sword energy. He then looked toward Wang Lin and silently pondered. The surroundings were completely silent except for the sound of the underworld river flowing in the air. The sound of the river flowing created sound ripples that diffused across the area. Just at this moment, a huge divine sense suddenly charged out from the tower behind the black-armored old man. "Where did you learn that palm print?" The divine sense echoed like a thunderous roar. The moment this sound appeared, the ground began to shatter, but it stopped 100 feet before Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He remembered now, it was this voice that had seriously injured him countless times on the way here. If not for the slaughter energy and finger of death, he would have already died. Wang Lin said, "I learned it in the celestial realm." The huge divine sense muttered, "Celestial realm." Yes, he did go to the celestial realm once back then. Wang Lin began to retreat. He was no longer under the effect of the celestial ascension fruit. Now that he had calmed down, he was covered in cold sweat. Capture him alive. After the divine sense sent out this message, it disappeared back into the tower. The black-armored old man didn't hesitate before suddenly leaping into the air. He moved like a bolt of lightning toward Wang Lin. With his late-stage ascendant cultivation, his hand formed a seal and he shouted, "Wind." With one word, a giant tornado suddenly appeared. As it swept across the ground, the earth began to shatter and countless broken rocks were mixed into the tornado as it charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy as he backed up several steps and his right hand pointed at the sky. The underworld river suddenly descended from the sky and swept across the area. The incoming tornado was stopped by the flow of the underworld river. After a few bursts of reincarnation energy, the tornado was pulled into the underworld river. Such a young age and you already have your own Tao. You are not simple. The old man's voice was calm. His hand formed a seal and pointed at the sky. Thunder. After the old man shouted, the sky immediately darkened and dark clouds suddenly filled the sky. These dark clouds looked like ugly faces. With the word thunder, a small gap suddenly appeared in the black clouds. Following a loud rumble, a ray of black thunder descended from the sky. Wang Lin's expression changed as he raised his left pinky without any hesitation toward the descending thunder. Underworld finger. Wang Lin couldn't afford to underestimate this thunder spell. He heard from Sichu Nan that thunder spells were the most difficult to practice. Unless someone had a lot of skill, they were very difficult to learn. This was because thunder was considered the power of the heavens, and how could the power of the heavens be so easily used by a human? The underworld river began to move due to the underworld finger. The entire underworld river began to move following the direction of Wang Lin's finger. Then the underworld river charged into the black thunder in the sky, carrying the power of reincarnation. An earth-shattering explosion echoed across the sky. Although the underworld river began to collapse, the black thunder was also dissipating. After 1/3 of the underworld river had collapsed, the black thunder dissipated completely. Your Tao is very powerful. The black-armored old man sneered. His right hand pointed at the sky again and he shouted, "Rain." The dark clouds in the sky suddenly shrank and drops of black rain immediately began to fall. These raindrops fell down from the sky like swords straight toward Wang Lin. Late-stage ascendant is indeed something I can't beat. However, if you want to kill me, it will not be this simple. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he took a step and walked directly into the underworld river. When he entered the underworld river, he merged with it. He became his Tao. He was the underworld river. The underworld river that had already lost 1/3 of itself immediately formed a giant wave after Wang Lin walked in. It flowed on the ground and in the blink of an eye turned into a dragon. Wang Lin was located at the head of the dragon. The dragon head rose up and let out a roar. This was the roar of the underworld. It was Wang Lin's heaven-defying Tao. This was the roar Wang Lin gave as he raised his head. The black rain falling from the sky suddenly paused after the roar. Then the black raindrops all shattered and turned into slivers of black smoke. In the blink of an eye, the sky was covered in black smoke. What a good fusion with your Tao. Unfortunately, I don't think your Tao can even withstand one hit from me. This old man doesn't have his own Tao, but this armor of mine does. The old man's expression was normal. His arms opened up as he sneered and flew into the air before shouting, "Wind." The wind picked up again and formed a giant vortex in the sky. This was a vortex of wind, and its appearance caused all of the black gas to be sucked into it. The old man shouted again, "Rain." Drops of black rain appeared inside the vortex. These raindrops were made of devilish energy, so they were not normal. Thunder. There was a thunderous roar and another ray of black thunder appeared within the black clouds. At the moment the black thunder appeared, there were strands of black lightning moving within the black raindrops. At this moment, with the thunder at the center and countless raindrops connected by the black lightning, it was as if there was a giant nest of lightning covering the sky. Lightning. The old man's voice seemed to even suppress the roar of the thunder. Then the thunder, raindrops, and even the vortex descended from the sky at lightning speed. Wang Lin raised his head. This was a new peak for him. It was a battle like he'd never had before. Unless something heaven-defying happened, then he would without a doubt lose when trying to fight against a late-stage ascendant cultivator with only his early-stage ascendant cultivation. Wang Lin knew this well because he had that heaven-defying object. Ling Tianho's sword energy was that heaven-defying object. Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding, took out the 1 billion soul flag, and 100 million soul fragments immediately flew out. After these soul fragments appeared, they didn't fly into the sky but instead quickly flew into the underworld river. All 100 million soul fragments soon fused with the underworld river. When I was under the influence of the celestial ascension fruit, I was able to create this underworld river with my Tao. Now that I'm sober, I'm still able to condense the soul of the river. The 100 million soul fragments fused with the underworld river and fused into one. This soul was the soul of the underworld river. The underworld river now had a soul, so it suddenly moved when the wind, rain, thunder, and lightning descended from the sky. Wang Lin was inside the underworld river. He spread out his divine sense and his Tao fused with the river. At this moment, his origin soul let out a roar and the underworld river charged into the sky. Now that it had a soul, the underworld river seemed to have gained intelligence. It was like a dragon, as it let out a roar and wanted to devour the wind, rain, thunder, and lightning spell. At the same time, 130,000 strands of slaughter energy came out from between Wang Lin's eyebrows and fused with the dragon. Now this underworld river carried killing intent. This was Wang Lin's real underworld river. It contained 130,000 strands of slaughter energy, 100 million soul fragments, and Wang Lin's Tao. The mix of these charged out like crazy toward the descending spell from the old man. This was a battle of people at the peak. The thunder roared, the raindrops carried the lightning, and the wind vortex displayed its might as the spell collided with the underworld river. At this moment, the sky changed colors and a loud explosion echoed endlessly through air. The ground trembled as a large amount of cracks appeared everywhere. At this moment, it was as if a layer had been peeled off from the entire ancient battleground. The sky above the ancient battleground seemed to have completely shattered. This was a battle of heaven and earth. At the same time as the earth was shattered, a large amount of soul fragments flew out from underground. These soul fragments were all-powerful, so they weren't refined by Hu Pao. When Wang Lin saw these soul fragments, his eyes lit up and he shook the soul flag in his hand. The soul flag turned into a giant, black cloth that covered the sky. With just one sweep, countless souls were captured by the soul flag. These soul fragments turned into strands of black gas and fused with the underworld river. As the heavens and earth shook, the black-armored man's expression became gloomy. Then he gave Wang Lin a meaningful look and shook his head. This wind, rain, thunder, and lightning spell is my weakest spell. Next you will see the Tao that belongs to this armor, Tao of the devil. The old man wiped the armor on his chest. In an instant, the armor began to move in a strange manner. Strands of devilish energy came out from the armor and quickly gathered before the old man. A sickle that gave off monstrous, devilish energy formed before the old man. The devilish energy that the sickle was giving off was incredibly dense. There seemed to be some law that was outside of the heavens' control inside this devilish energy. Its appearance caused cracks to appear in the nearby space before the space quickly shattered. This sickle wasn't completely solid, it was changing between incorporeal and corporeal. As it changed between these two states, there was a sizzling sound. The moment the sickle appeared, the old man revealed a painful expression. It was as if he was enduring unimaginable torture. The single-horned devil illusion that had entered the old man's brow appeared. Its expression was the exact opposite of the old man's. It looked very comfortable. The devil illusion completely flew out of the old man's body, turned into black smoke, and entered the sickle. The sickle suddenly became alive and charged straight at Wang Lin. The underworld river and the wind, rain, thunder, and lightning spells continued to collide, giving off loud explosions that echoed across the sky. The sickle quickly flew through the air, leaving behind a long trail of devilish flame. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed as he raised his right hand. Sword Saint Ling Tianho's sword energy condensed at the tip of his finger. Ling Tianho's life revolved around swords. He had created 4 small worlds that he refined into 4 sword gods. He was considered powerful and on par with the All-Seer on planet Tianyun. The power of his sword energy was unimaginable. This video will end here.